All right, guys, so we're going to be talking about the election. By the way, I apologize if you hear some stuff in the background. Like, my family just moved to the state, and they're waiting for their home to finish being built, so they're, like, with me for the most part, which is fine. So hopefully it's not too distracting. So we're going to be talking about the election. We're going to be talking about just getting a little bit more in-depth into what is going on. Of course, I'm going to be giving you the good news. Of course, the bad news, you already got the bad news. The fake news industry is trying to basically claim the winner. They're trying to be the gatekeepers of our election process. And I think that's absolutely disgusting. And that's not how politics in America works. For those who don't live in the United States, the media has never been the deciding factor as to who wins the election. They've never been. That is a lie. They don't get to choose the winner. They don't get to choose the loser. That is just not how this works whatsoever. The courts decide. The state delegation decides. The American people decide. The fake news industry never, ever has and never will get to decide who wins our elections. But first off, I want to tell people to chill the heck out, okay? People who are on my side of the political aisle, the political dissidents, the weirdos, the outcasts, the conservatives, the good Christians, the Catholics, the people who are politically homeless. We need to stop worrying, and we need to stand with the President of the United States. We need to defend him at all costs. And I'm going to read you a post that I made. It's kind of short, but it looks lengthy, but it really isn't. So I'm just going to read it really quick. So I posted this at midnight, around midnight on election night, so November 3rd. It was at 11:34 p.m. Trump was, I'm just going to read this. So Trump won the election. I was right. I was 100% right about everything. The desire for Americans to be free, the rejection of communism and Marxism, and of course the disgusting response to COVID-19. I was 100% right about all of it. The American people have rejected the Democratic Party's lockdowns, their mask mandates, their attack on America's beautiful heritage. I bet against the betting markets early on in the year, and I was ruthlessly mocked by very smart people, some of whom I used to respect, and now they look like the biggest fucking retards on the planet. Sure, I don't have a fancy Harvard degree. I went to CSN and UNLV, but I'm light years ahead of these idiots, and I was able to predict this in 2018. I'm so ahead of my time, my parents haven't met yet. Trump has such a commanding lead in Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and it doesn't even matter if they try to cheat. If they do, it'll be obvious. Ballot harvesting will not save the Democratic Party. It's over. Joseph Biden will never be the president of the United States. He's a loser. He's tried before and he failed again. Trump won. America won. Americans won. It will be morning in America again. So I said this on November 3rd, before midnight at 11 p.m. Okay, I'm fairly confident that my math was right. I'm not the only one. Robert Barnes called this. I think Richard Harris of the People's Pundit called this. There's a lot of really talented bettors here in the Valley who ended up calling this correctly. However, something happened. Okay, now I'm going to be leaving links in the description for you to get involved, for you to stand up, and this is my call to action for all the people who are not politically connected, for all the people who aren't like big influencers or whatever. Like just because you think you're like an average Joe or whatever, and that you're powerless and there's nothing that you can do. Well, I'm just here to tell you that you're wrong. There are absolutely things that you can do to make a difference. First off, you can donate to help President Trump in his future legal battles. He's going to need all the help he can get. Right now, the fake news industry is trying to run a what's it called? Not a disinformation campaign. Well, they are doing that. A demoralization campaign. They're trying to demoralize us. They're trying to say like, oh well, Biden's going to be the president. Suck it. It's like, oh, look at all his cute dogs. He's going to bring dogs to the White House. Oh my God, he's a human being. Look at him, human being all over the place. And it's really obnoxious. And they're also trying to say things like, oh well, Trump's going to wipe his ass with the money that you donate to him. He's gonna spend it on his debt because he's like broke as hell or something. It's really annoying. They're trying to demoralize us. Link in the description. Also, I got to meet with some of the organizers, some of the people who are involved, deliberately involved, directly involved with the Stop the Steal campaign. Very nice people, very cool, very professional. That's like the future of the party in my estimation. People like that, people who are getting on the streets. I was out there on the streets, speaking with the press, talking with the people, calming them down, letting them know that there is a pathway forward. And as of making this video right now, there is enough evidence to put into question the legitimacy of some of the contests throughout the country. So I don't want people to be afraid. I don't want people to worry. And let me just say something really quick before I continue about some future claims people have been making. People like Tim Pool talking about civil war and political violence and that sort of thing. Unironically, the American people do not have an appetite for violence. American people are sick of the violence. They are rejecting violence. It's one of the reasons why Donald Trump won so convincingly, in my estimation. Is one of them is we are sick of the violence that has been, inflicted upon the American population, more so in these Democratic-run cities throughout the United States. We don't have an appetite for this crap. And just to give you a sense of what I experienced when I was out there, I was protesting with my fellow conservatives, with my fellow Christians, with the citizens of Clark County. These are peaceful people. I was among families. I was among working class people. I was with Americans who have been completely discarded, set aside by the Democratic, Governor Sisolak, just completely abused us. And these are the kinds of people that I was surrounded by. Very peaceful, no violent rhetoric whatsoever. There were a couple Democrats who were trying to debate me because I open carry. Of course, I build firearms. I open carry my Glock 17 Gen 5, and somebody else. These guys, they appear to have had AR-15s. And, they're like, oh, what are you afraid of? Where's the threat at? And I'm like, well, no one's talking about threats. You're talking about threats. We're not worried. The police were there. They were incredibly respectful and professional, and we're very happy that they're on our side and hopefully continue to support us the way that we support them. Let's keep this, relationship going, you guys. So anyways, there's no appetite for that, but there is an appetite for freedom. There is certainly this yearning for restoration of our constitutional and human rights, and there is definitely a demand for transparency all throughout the country, at least in regards to these election departments that don't appear to be allowing legitimate observers into their buildings, into these election department buildings, to observe the ballot counting, to observe the activities from these election officials. They're not allowing it. There seems to be enough substantial evidence. There seems to be concrete, tangible evidence of this occurring. So let's talk about some of the soldiers that are on the ground right now doing the Lord's work. First off, James O'Keefe. I think he's going to pull through. I think he's going to be one of the people that saves Donald Trump, gives him make sure that he retains his place in the White House. James O'Keefe right now is offering up $25,000 reward for first-hand election fraud tips in Pennsylvania that are featured in a release. So if you come forward with tangible, concrete evidence, James O'Keefe will reward you. He is demanding that people come forward with information of election fraud, voter fraud, recordings of USPS workers being handed down orders from higher ups that will, run contrary to our constitutional, laws. Goodness. So James O'Keefe has been absolutely killing it. He's released quite a few explosive videos already of USPS workers basically detailing the kind of fraud that we've been warned about all throughout the year, which I was informed was all fake and unfounded, and that it's impossible to defraud the election. It's impossible. Our elections are so safe. Fraud on this scale is insanely rare. Goodness, what drumpf. This machine kills fascists and all this other stupid, cringy nonsense. God bless James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. They're doing some of the most important work on the ground. I can't believe it. Of course, Flacus Talks, I think that's his name, Flacus, whatever. Really cool content creator, does on-the-ground reporting. Him and people from all over the world have been auditing these death certificates, death records, for specific counties, and they're comparing it to voter data that is openly available, because a lot of the death records and voting data is public information. They're finding dead people have requested ballots and they have returned ballots. It's not entirely clear what is going on with these. Now, I'm not saying that these have been counted, but apparently they have evidence that one of them has been counted before. But it gets better. This is a more recent development. So Attorney General William Barr has authorized federal prosecutors to pursue substantial allegations of voting irregularities before the 2020 presidential election is certified. So no, the fake news industry does not get to declare a winner in the general election. The fake news industry, all they do is report on what is happening. And what is happening is there have been cases of documented, at the very least, documented shenanigans on behalf of the U.S. Postal Service. There has been documented irregularities in the counts, documented irregularities in just about every aspect of the election. Anything that can go wrong absolutely did go wrong in this election. It is not safe. It is not secure. And people are sick of it. And people notice. Like they want to think that we're stupid. And they're trying to do this demoralization campaign. They're trying to get us to not think about what has transpired throughout these election departments throughout the country. And I'm just telling you guys right now, there's nothing to worry about. There's a lot of talented people on the ground, a lot of legal experts, some of whom I do know. And there are things that are going on that I am not allowed to speak of. But things are happening quickly. There's a lot of moving parts to this. I don't want people to freak out. But like I said, what you can do is get your arguments in order. Get your arguments in order and articulate clearly in a way that anybody's going to be able to understand what is happening out there in the streets, what is happening, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in Clark County, Nevada, where I live. You got to be able to communicate what is happening. It's like, look, they're not allowing people to observe the chain of custody of these ballots. There are people who appear to have been dead who requested ballots and then returned them. And what is happening to these ballots is not clear. The election departments are not being transparent. This whole mail-in, the universal mail-in ballot fiasco seems to have been designed to have been exploited for exactly this reason. What happens from here on out is anybody else's guess. It's like, okay, maybe the Supreme Court may hand President Trump a win, or maybe during recounts, during recanvassing, during audits, or whatever, they'll discard all these phony baloney ballots that appear to have not been dated properly, or they lack signatory requirements. It's just like. Or it can go either way, or the state delegation will step in and say, you know what, this is clearly a blatant violation of our election laws. Something fishy happened, and they're going to give it to Trump. So there are many pathways to victory for the president of the United States. So I do not want people to engage in violent rhetoric, to entertain violent rhetoric. Get your arguments in order and talk to the people in your life. And of course, I'm going to leave links in the description to Stop the Steal campaign. And if there's any large events, that's where you want to go. Also, Nicholas J. Fuentes is going out there and engaging with the public. He's getting the people ready and fired up. God bless Nicholas J. Fuentes for doing the Lord's work and not being a coward, unlike some of these other content creators. Some of my fellow contemporaries who appear to just be like resigning themselves to accepting the results of the election. I refuse to accept the results of the election. Six Hexenhammer refuses to accept the results of the election. Razorfist refuses to accept the results of the election. And thank God for people like Caitlin Bennett, Sydney Watson, oh goodness, Adam Krigler. There's so many people. There's so many people. My fellow contemporaries, I'm so proud of you guys for standing up. And we're taking a beating. But I'm going to end on this note. Because I don't want this video to drag on too long. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on what is going on here. But I just want to say something about the liberals, these Democrats, all these progressives, all these goofball fringe socialists that are posting images of people crying with the little MAGA hats photoshopped on them. It's really funny that you try to make fun of conservatives crying and whining, but you have to use images of liberals and then Photoshop a MAGA hat onto them to make fun of us and to make the point that we're crying and whining. Let me just tell you something, because I've been out there on the streets talking with the American people, talking to the press, and I was out there for multiple days, and there was almost no crying or whining whatsoever. The people are fired up. They are determined. They are going to stand up and support the president no matter what. You really pissed off a good segment of the population, and they are not going to go quietly into the night. They're going to be loud. They're going to be obnoxious. They're going to scream at the top of their lungs what is going on in this country, and I implore everyone else to do the same thing, and that is not the same as crying. Now, granted, there are a few images of people who are, collapsing on the floor, engaged in prayer, praying for the president, praying for the outcome of this election to be resolved sooner or later, so we can go back to continuing to make America great again. Here's the difference between 2020 and 2016. In 2020, the Democratic Party, a lot of these Democratic governors, these overzealous losers who were bullied in their at some point in their life, got a power trip and they violated our constitutional and human rights. People are on the streets. People have been evicted from their homes. People have lost their businesses. People have died from suicide, drug overdose. They lost everything. President Trump was a symbol of hope for these people. And we desperately needed this win. We really, really do need this win. And again, I'm under the impression that we won, and I am not going to stop fighting because I am a fighter. But they're sad. They are overwhelmed emotionally because they want this nightmare to end. Now, contrast that with the liberals crying in 2016. Their crying was so epic, was so legendary, that even to this day, people recycle the memes of them crying because it's just so bizarre, so out there. And they were crying because they didn't get their way, because they didn't get their participation trophy in the mail. That is a stark difference between these losers in 2016 crying and patriots being overwhelmingly upset and engaging in prayer. You know, that may be a little bit over the top, but you know what? It is completely different. These things are not the same. And let me just end on this note. When I was a stupid douchebag, Democratic, liberal, hipster operative back in, I don't know, maybe around 2012. Yeah, I mean, I was doing it for a while. But in 2012, I voted for Obama. And Obama ended up winning. He ended up defeating Mitt Romney. And you know what? Let me tell you about the conservative spirit, man. And this pissed me off. They were not crying, man. They were fired up. They were ready to push back. They were ready to start the day fresh, getting ready to push back against the Obama regime. These people never cried. These people they never cried. So this meme that that all these Trump supporters are crying and whining is just not accurate. Again, you would be able to tell in my voice. You would be able to tell in my expression if I'm whining or crying, and I'm not. We are going to fight this thing. I genuinely believe we are going to prevail. There appears to be enough tangible, concrete evidence that election fraud, has occurred, that voter fraud has occurred, that the irregularities and the totals is overwhelming. And at the very least, if I really wanted to be charitable, if I really wanted to look the other way, you can chalk this up to gross incompetence of epic proportions, but I lean more towards the illegal stuff. That's just me personally. So again, do not despair, my fellow Americans. Do not let the sadness, the anger overwhelm you. Do not become demoralized by the news from the lying press. They are going to lie to you. They are going to try to overwhelm you. They are going to try to piss you off. Do not engage. Links in the description. Get active. Communicate with people in your life, because that's what really matters the most. We need people to believe in the president. And I've been out there because I genuinely believe in it. People have tried to accuse me of being a grifter. I still stand with the guy. I'm going to stand with the guy. I never deviated once from the president of the United States and his message and in the direction that he wants to take this country in. I'm all in. I'm all in. You can look at my tweets, for proof. All right, guys, take care. Peace out.